Yep, you're ready to proceed.
Hello, welcome to Licensing Subcommittee. Can we just start off with briefly summarising the protocol for the remote hearing? So, only speak when invited by the chair. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and direct all communications via the chair. Will everyone please ensure their mics are muted when they are not speaking apart from the chair? If you have any technical difficulties, please use the chat function in Google Meet to alert the meeting. Please do not use the chat function for putting formal questions to the subcommittee. Applicants and all their parties will be asked to leave the proceedings after their item is concluded. Please do so promptly, if each party will be notified of the decision within 5 working days. So if I just start off with the first item on the agenda, can we start off by electing the chair of the subcommittee?
Yeah, Councillor Smythe, pleased to be chair. Nominate.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Welcome everyone to Tuesday the 8th of September's licensing meeting. The agenda is inside your agenda pack, if you can see it. So you can see there we've done agenda item 1, which is the election of chair. Number 2 is there are apologies for absence from Councillor Patrick and Councillor Conway. Any other apologies for absence?
No, Chair.
None. Okay. Any declarations of interest?
No, not for me.
I have none either. So now what we do is we go through the hearing procedure, which is quite swift. The licensing officer will outline the report, and then the applicant will present their case in support of their application. Other responsible authorities will then speak. That would be PC Atkins. We'll have a discussion and clarification points, consideration, and then we will possibly announce our decision on the spot, or we will wait, one or the other. So please, if we could move to the licensing officer, please, to outline the report of this application, which is Two Lights Restaurant, 28 to 30 Kingsland Road.
Thank you, Chair. Licensing Service received an application for variation of premises license under Section 34 of the Licensing Act 2003 for 28 to 30 Kingsland Road to authorize the supply of alcohol for consumption of the premises, as stated in the agenda. After the 28th consultation, only the police representation remains, and I have nothing else to add. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. If we could move on to the applicant, please. In fact, let's just stop for a second and just introduce ourselves very briefly. I'm Councillor Smith. I'm a councillor in Stoke Newington Ward. Sorry, I forgot to do that. I think it's important.
I'm sitting with I'm Councillor Pluvier from London Fields Ward.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Rabia from the Government Service Officer.
I'm Amanda North from Legal Services.
Thank you.
And I'm Subha from Licensing Service.
Hi, can you see me?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Can't see myself. Hi, I'm Johnny Smith. I'm the applicant.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. PC Atkins from the Police Licence Unit, Stoke Newington Police Station.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that, folks, but I think it's important. Okay, so we can go to the applicant now, please. That'd be great.
For me?
Yeah. Yes, please.
What exactly, excuse my ignorance here, but I didn't receive, I got an email from you, Rabia, but it didn't have an agenda pack in it. Oh. So sorry to only to flag that at this point. I don't know if in that agenda pack there was any pointers for me to present.
Not really. I mean, it essentially outlines, you know.
Outlining, okay, fine. I'll keep this brief. So I am a director of the Clove Club Restaurant Group. We operate the restaurant at 28 Kingsland Road. The site has been operating for around 2 years now. And during lockdown, we started operating a delivery service, and the delivery service has formed a healthy part of our revenue, especially during a time when people are still nervous about returning to restaurants. And we would like to amend our license so that it includes the off sales of alcohol, as we see this as an important part of our revenue for the health and the maintenance of the business. We are working with third-party delivery platforms to ensure that at all times, without any exception, we are adhering to the licensing objectives, the 4 licensing objectives. So we intend to sell alcohol off-site, like I said, through our third-party platforms, such as Deliveroo. It's not Deliveroo, but it's a similar platform. They are advertising, or online customers are notified that age verifications will take place on the exchange of alcohol and goods through delivery drivers. We know that all drivers are instructed to check ID of all customers whose delivery contain alcohol. Our on-site team ensure that every bag is going to be specially marked with stickers to make sure that such deliveries are easy to identify. And in terms of off-premises sales, our team, they're going to follow a strict procedure of age verification when guests are ordering alcohol for takeout. So that's everything in line with the prevention of crime and disorder. In terms of the next licensing objective of public safety, we will deny selling alcohol to all customers who are already drunk to circumvent alcohol-related crime and antisocial behaviour in the area. We want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to prevent any public nuisance. By controlling the misuse of alcohol, we want to suppress any antisocial behaviour, any criminal damage, any minor and serious assaults, and any violent offences. And last but not least, we want to ensure that we're doing everything to protect children from harm. So we're not going to sell alcohol to minors, and all of our efforts, as stated above, will be to prevent this from happening.
Is that it? Yep.
Well, it may be.
You've got 5 minutes. You've probably got a minute or so left.
I think that covers how we plan to manage the operation of off-sales alcohol in a safe and responsible way, in line with the 4 objectives. In terms of our restaurant and its contribution to the borough, we own 2 restaurants in the borough, and we are high-quality operators who are interested in building businesses with longevity, employing local people if we can, and being at the vanguard of responsible operators in the borough.
Great, fantastic. Thank you very much. Any points of clarification to members? Emma, any points you'd like to clarify there?
I think I'll leave it to the police to clarify, and we'll come back to anything that's not clarified after that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. If we could move to PC Atkins, Dave Atkins. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. I'll try and keep my points as brief as possible. The application is to cover off sales up to 23:45 hours. The statement of licensing policy states that off sales are generally restricted to 11 o'clock in the evening, which is the first point I'd like to raise. Since the easing of lockdown issues, as police officers, we've seen an increased amount of people on the streets consuming alcohol, where they're not able to get into the alcohol, which has led to pockets of disorder, which is a concern for us delivering alcohol onto the streets. We have tried to converse with the applicant. We've had no luck at the moment to have them discussions outside of this forum. But we would ask, I mean, this is a temporary measure, the off sales that a lot of people are seeking to get through COVID, which is covered by the Business and Planning Act, which is covered.
proceed at 11 o'clock. I'd rather keep this.
So you would be willing to accept that condition then?
I'd be willing to accept that. Apologies if that's the specific. I wouldn't. I think it would be helpful that you split it into two, i.e., people coming off the street and existing diners already in the restaurant.
Yeah, and PC Atkins, how do you feel about that sort of arrangement?
We still have concerns. I appreciate what the applicant's stating about it's the type of restaurant. We should look at that. But again, I will bring you back. We are then still taking alcohol onto the street, whether it be taken home or not. We don't know whether people might be going into another bar after they're leaving a restaurant, whether that be a club or anything like that. Our concern is that there is more alcohol on the streets after 11 o'clock. And it's not us that have put the policy together. It is the council that have restricted these hours until 11 o'clock, which we would ask for.
Okay. Well, your position's clear then. Emma, any more questions?
Just to check with the applicant. So, what you're really saying you want from us is delivery. That delivery could stop at 11, but the ability to sell to existing diners that time from 11 to 11:45 matters to you.
Yes.
Okay, so just so we're clear, I'm not saying, I mean, it just gives us the opportunity to be clear about what it is that you really are after here. But it would be okay if we conditioned that to be people who were dinner customers.
How many can you sit in your restaurant?
With new social distancing, about 35.
Okay. And is it quite often full?
Not. I'd like it to be fuller more often.
Okay.
I would say so. Just to give you, just on a serious note, to give you an idea, on a Friday and Saturday night, we would hope to do in the region of 65, 70 covers.
Okay. So what I'm kind of proposing here is that one of the things is that we wouldn't put on your license the permission to sell alcohol to the people who just come in off the street who are customers, who come in and say, I want to buy a bottle of wine. So we would not be happy to put that on your license, because that you can do anyway under this law for a year, and there are concerns from the police. So that rather than put that on the license, you have that anyway, and it's going to be monitored because things are chaotic in Shoreditch. And the delivery, so we're kind of splitting it into three things. Of that which you have anyway, which we may or may not put on your license. The existing diners where you would like us to go to 11:45, the police are still asking for 11, and the delivery drivers takeaways. So I'm clear there are kind of three areas that we will then have to decide on, and you're clear about that, and we're clear what you want, and we're clear what the police want. Sorry, this is really for me, so I can get my head around.
One thing I would like to say, and one thing that we could consider, is that basically from Monday to Thursday, you participate in the 11 o'clock hours, and then the quarter to 12 hours, from Friday to Thursday to Saturday.
At the moment, we're only operating Wednesday to Saturday, and I appreciate that, but it feels a little bit like robbing Peter to pay Paul, because earlier in the week, diners are less likely to be in the restaurant late at night because they have work the next day. It's actually, if I was to take advantage of those later hours to accommodate guests' requests, it's more likely to be on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Can I just ask one more clarification from the police? Just to say that as I outlined it, I hope he's in agreement that those are the kind of disputed areas, if you like, and then we make the decision on those. But also, I just want to check with you that the deliveries are already happening, so there isn't really an issue of public order over those because he's already doing them and they're a big part of the. So if we haven't got a problem with those, adding alcohol isn't going to make a difference. So I'm just checking that that's correct and how we see those are the decisions that we're making.
Yeah, I'd agree, Councillor. I mean, I can see how it is separated into three different things. I mean, the concern is that this would be a permanent fixture on the licence when there is already these permissions until next September, effectively. And any conditions that restrict alcohol would likely be overwritten by this legislation anyway. If I can bring back to a point about the later hours on the Friday and Saturday nights, that is when we are seeing most of the problems on the streets of Shoreditch. So to give the later hours on them evenings, I would think would be wouldn't work really.
Okay, I think that we've probably reached the end of the discussion period. Are people in agreement with that? After this, we would move on to sort of closing remarks, really, by everyone. So, Mr. Atkins, would you like to go ahead with your closing remarks, please?
Chair, I would just reiterate.
Can I just butt in because I think Amanda wanted to say something.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see Amanda. I can't see you
sorry,
on the
sorry,
screen.
yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to ask, there's just a couple of points I just wanted to check that councillors are satisfied that they've heard enough on, which is, firstly, what about the cumulative impact on the area? The applicant hasn't addressed the cumulative impact really a great deal. I don't know whether you feel you've heard enough, but just wanted to make sure you're satisfied that he's addressed the cumulative impact and how his application will affect that. And also, normally we have alcohol ends 30 minutes before the terminal hour. How will the applicant view that sort of thing? Would you be considering that? And if you are going to consider it, we need to discuss that with the applicant.
Okay, Johnny, would you like to just answer those 2 points, please? What time
yeah, I'm unsure what you were asking me in terms of the cumulative impacts. When you ask me the cumulative impacts of the restaurant, I only think of it in positive terms, in terms of what this restaurant brings to the area, in terms of culture and employment and offering a high quality restaurant. But I don't think that's what you're asking me.
Yeah, Amanda's referring to kind of adding more drunk people to the street, potentially.
Yes, I understand your concern. If you walk up and down the Shoreditch Strip, it's very easy to discern the kind of venues where people are going in and consuming vast sums of alcohol compared to a well-run, full-service, full-licensed restaurant where people are consuming alcohol responsibly, which Two Lights sits firmly in.
So the simple question that Amanda was asking is, how are you going to avoid that?
How am I going to avoid it?
Yeah.
So
you have covered it already, really, to some extent, but just to give you another opportunity to kind of...
My opportunity to avoid that is to make sure that alcohol is being served responsibly in the restaurant. So if anybody who I am concerned about their age, we will ask for ID. Anybody who I observe is intoxicated to a level which is concerning me, I will prevent the sale of alcohol to. Anybody who I think is going to be a public nuisance, public disorder, I will be aware of, as will the team, and they'll be carefully trained on that. So I'm very much concerned about the reputation of my business as well. So if there is a guest in there that's affecting the experience of other guests because of alcohol intake, then I will act accordingly.
And am I right in saying that you close at midnight? Is that right?
Yes.
In which case, it is common practice to basically stop serving alcohol half an hour before you close.
Yes.
Which would mean 11:30.
Yes.
Rather than 2:45.
Yes.
Chair, sorry to interrupt, but the licence they already have has supply of alcohol till 11:45. There is
okay.
I mean, presumably because it's a restaurant, and I don't know why, but it is a 15-minute, not a 30-minute, which is why that's been applied for, because it's consistent with the existing licence.
I mean, if we could, Dave Atkins, if there's any way to meet halfway on that timing, I'd be very happy to concede at 11:30.
Well, it's better. Certainly better.
Sorry, my apologies. I mean, for us, I mean, if there's going to be any granting, it would be 11 o'clock. I mean, the legislation that has been brought in to 11 o'clock for a reason and not any later. Especially in these community of impact areas. I said it's the later nights that are causing issues. So if anything was to be granted, we would ask it would only be within the hours that are generally restricted by the special policy, the statement of licensing policy.
Sure. Just to clarify, if the police's objection in terms of timing, or they restrict it to 11 o'clock, is that the final word? Is it then moved from Hackney Council's decision to the police?
No, it's our decision.
Okay.
We after we've heard everything, we go away and make the decision, and then and because we're online, we won't be able to do that and speak to you afterwards. We'll make the decision at the end of this meeting. We'll carry on, you leave, and then that decision gets told to you afterwards.
Okay, perfect. And sorry, Emma, in terms of the decision-making process, if there's a sticking point on a condition like the time, is it the case that would hold the whole variation of license, or is it just that it would adhere to that specific detail?
Lawyer, I don't think I understand. Can you be more?
Essentially, Johnny, we need to get things ironed out here and now, really.
Sure.
Ultimately, that would be the ideal situation. That you basically.
Fine. Okay, so if the police is If you said you want to get it cleared up right now, so there you go.
Yep. Well, that sounds good to me. Emma?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you pull it back to 11, there's nothing to debate. The thing, you know, it's
So PC Atkins, happy with that?
I'm happy with the timings. I think our only sticking point is what I've said before, is that this is a permanent addition to the licence in Shoreditch, and any conditions that were imposed are essentially going to be overwritten by this legislation. And if we're agreeing to 11 o'clock, I think this. I'm not too sure why we're having a hearing at the moment if that's not already been done.
Yeah.
I think. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I think we should. I think that the committee should still debate this. I don't think we should just accept that now. I'm uncomfortable about that, actually, because I'm not convinced that the applicant fully understands the position. So I don't think we should do that, because, as I say, yeah.
What position, Emma? Could you clarify that for me, please?
Because the law is changing, we're in this bizarre situation where considerable, apart from 45 minutes of what you've asked, is yours anyway. But we're also in a position where, but it's yours anyway for a limited time. So we're trying to juggle all that, and I think we as a committee need to discuss this. So the police are quite rightly pointing out that they're sticking to the 11 o'clock. As I was involved in writing the policy that says 11 o'clock for off licenses, I know what that means and why it is as it is, and I think that's still open for us to look at. Then we've got the whole thing of cumulative impact. I think there's a lot for us to discuss, which is why I wanted to be very clear on the three different aspects and to be clear with you that you understood those three. I really want to check again with the police that and with you, the delivery situation is, do you have a situation where where it goes to addresses, there's no difficulty here, and there's no, from both of you, I'd just like to check that we're really comfortable with deliveries. They go to legitimate addresses. They don't go to, you know, the Ford Fiesta that's parked down the Hackney Road.
It's only to full addresses, yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. So that's another reassuring thing for the police in terms of this. If we if we do give anything on this license rather than just giving you what you have anyway.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think on the point of making a full application, I felt like it was more appropriate because we are serious operators and we want to operate in a responsible way, and we want to make a positive change to the license. And we felt like it was better to make a full license application rather than just to operate under the government's new legislation, temporary legislation.
Okay. Okay, I think we've had the closing remarks. Any final clarifications at all people want to make? No? Okay, well, Johnny, thank you very much for coming to this meeting. You now need to leave, and I think you will hear the result within, I think, is it five working days, Amanda? Amanda?
Yes, sorry, yes. Yes, the decision will be issued within 5 working days.
Okay, Johnny, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for your time, everyone, and I hope to see you at 2 Lights at some point in the future.
See you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Chair, do you need myself any